Hello everybody and welcome back to the second shelf and to another tag video. And when I say another, that is a bit of an exaggeration because before I filmed this, I looked up my last tag and that was in April. So yeah, all of you who tagged me, I know, I'm bad. And this one is a newer one, the Books and Life tag. And the tag was originally created by Steve over at Steve Donahue, and I was tagged by Sean from Sean the Book Maniac, and I will leave both their videos down below. And Sean rightfully said, "This is a tag for you, me, because you don't have to prepare. You just babble into the camera." And I really love this kind of tags. I'm not a person who enjoys doing tags when I have to prepare for 2 hours, scouring my bookcases for certain books or titles, or a cover with the yellow sprinkles on it. And this is my whatever telephone. I'm sorry about this. I will mute it now. So anyway, I muted the mobile. I hope it works because you can't mute it on the screen. I mean, I can mute it on the screen, but then you can't hear me talking, which would be a real shame, wouldn't it? Anyway, there's another thing that I did for this tag that I normally forget. I'm always thinking of doing it and then I'm forgetting it, and that is sending the questions to my phone so that I can look at the phone when I read the question and not have to, look to the side. And anyway, I'm improving. So, question number 1. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a normal person and 10 being the late Harold Bloom, how much are books and reading a part of your life? And I looked at other people, how they ranked themselves. So Steve ranked himself a 9, which is for me weird because I think he's an 11. And I think it depends whether you look at the time, from the whole of the time that you have, how much time you are able to spend on reading and books. And if I look at myself, I write, I read, I buy books, I talk about books, I make YouTube videos, but I also have to work because I have to pay the bills. So it's about, I would say, 40% of my time is just gone because I have to spend that on, the necessary means to earn enough money to buy books. So then I would be maybe a 5 or something. But if I look at the time that is left after work is done, and how much time and how much mental space books and reading and writing occupy, I would probably say I'm a 7 and 8, because that's mainly what I do in my free time. I read, I look at books, I make YouTube videos, I look at Goodreads, I read reviews, I think about the books that I want to read. So let's go with the 7 because 7 is my favorite number. So that seems like a good idea. Anyway, question number 2. Where does your personal library stand right now in relation to the rest of your life? Do you have more books now than you ever had? Fewer? How has your library changed? Well, I would say because I'm an accumulator, I definitely have more books now than I had in previous years, because I'm not one of those book people who books in and out. I very few books are on the out with me, so I always accumulate more books than books I get rid of. I mean, I do occasionally books that I double issues or something like that. Double issues, it doesn't make sense. I mean, books that I have 2 of, but I'm not regularly getting rid of books, so it's always more. And my library definitely has changed over the last 5 years, I would say, since I'm on Booktube. I've been on Booktube now for 5 years. May 2016 was my first video. And I before BookTube, I read much more German literature because even in translation, so English authors or authors from all over the world, but then in a German translation, and also German authors. And since I'm on BookTube and my channel is in English, I read many more books in English, whether it's from an author writing in English originally or whether it's a translated work from a Japanese author. I would buy it in English so that I can talk about it and can show it. Also, since I have this channel, and this channel is exclusively dedicated to female authors, I read much more female authors than I had previously. When I was young and started as a reader, I would say, in my teen years, when I developed my own taste, I did not pay any attention to the author. I was just looking, is the book about something that interests me? And I read a lot of books about women, but they were mostly written by men, but I didn't even think about it. So that came much later. And also the idea that I try to read more broadly so that I look at more of translated work. I look at the author in terms of background. Is it a person of color? Is it an author from India or Africa or South America in translation? So those are things that I pay much more attention to than I did previously. And so if you look at my bookcase, it looks quite different than it looked 5 years ago when I started the channel. Number 3, take a mental step back and ask yourself, what is the most likely first bookish impression a newcomer would have in your home? I thought that was an interesting but also a difficult question. I don't have that many people coming into my home as newcomers. I mean, I can't even remember the last time that somebody actually came into my house. The most people I meet newly or I met newly over the last, let's say, 5 years, they have never been to my house. I meet them virtually, through BookTube and Voxer and Zoom. So it's a difficult question for me to answer. I mean, I don't have bookcases in my living room. It's an open living room kitchen area. And I just like the concentration of books in a certain room. So this is my study, and here is most of the nonfiction. Here is where I work. This is the desk where the computer is on, where I write and where I work. And most of the other books are in the book room, where there's only something to sit and books. And I really like that, even though I read a lot in the living room as well. So I don't know. But I don't know what the first impression would be. Many of the people who already made the video, and I had that question certainly, did you read them all? And no, I didn't. Especially the nonfiction books here, it's often as a library. I have books that I need for work or research, and I haven't read them cover to cover. So, yeah. Anyway, I don't know whether that answers the question at all, but that's what I can say about this. Number 4, how often, if ever, gulp, Steve, do you clean or reorganize your books? I clean the bookcases once a year, approximately. And that means taking the books off the shelves and cleaning the shelves, because most of the dust is behind the books. I have a cleaning lady, and she dusts the books and the shelves, the part of the shelves that you can see. She comes every 2 weeks, but there's still a lot of dust behind the book. So I do that maybe once a year. Sometimes it takes a little longer, but I do clean my books. And I even got from one of my best friends, I got this brush, which is specifically a book brush. It's harder here, so you can dust the back, and it's softer here, so you can just brush the top. It's a brilliant present for a book person. As for reorganizing, not that often. I reorganize shelves when I run out of shelf space. Then I come up either with buying a bookcase or uh, putting books behind. I have this in the other room where there is the fiction. Um, I don't have enough shelf space, and I don't really have walls anymore to put more shelves. So what I do, for instance, if I have books, multiple books by one author, I put them in the back. And then I reorganize the shelves. And when I buy a new bookcase, I reorganize the shelves. I also hear what you can see, what you can't see in front of me. A couple of shelves, books that I need for a book project or my next book, and those shelves are reorganized quite often because I change the book project or I'm finished with something. But I'm not like reorganizing everything unless I move. So the basic the structure is nonfiction is here, and it's by topic and author, then author alphabet. And in the other room, the bookcases there are organized by author alphabet, but in languages. So I have one big bookcase in English, the English authors. I have a separate one for translated work, and a separate one English originals, but not authors from the UK or the US or Canada. And I have German books separately and Dutch books separately, and they are organized author alphabet. I can't even imagine, like when I watch Sean's video and he says I don't organize at all. That makes me like, oh, I'm a very, obsessive person in terms of making lists and organizing stuff, and that's also for my books. That's the same with my books. Anyway, 5. On average, how many books do you acquire in a given week? I don't do the list. Of course, I keep a list of the books I buy. Of course, I do, but not by week, but by month. So I buy books monthly. I buy them mostly at the end of a certain month for the next month, or sometimes in between, but I always buy them monthly. And certainly now, when most of the bookstores were closed, so I had to purchase books online. And also, as I told you before, I live in Cologne, and there is not a single English language bookstore here. So most of my books I have to acquire online. There are English language bookstores in Amsterdam and good ones, but I couldn't travel to Amsterdam. And I hope in the spring, in the fall, that I will be able to travel to Holland, and then I will go to a bookstore. But still, I acquire my books in a sort of monthly batch. And I think on average, I buy about between 10 and 12 books each month. Also including ebooks, but I don't buy that many ebooks. So from the 10 or 12, there's maybe one ebook. Most of the books I buy in physical form. What song, number 6, what song is your current earworm? I mean, I have really no idea why this question is included. That's typical Steve, I would say. I don't think he means while you read, because I never listen to music while I read. I can't concentrate if there's other noises if I read. But a song that I really liked lately and that I've been listening to when I cook or clean or whatever is "Glitter and Gold" by Barnes Courtney. He's a British singer-songwriter, and it's I don't know. He calls himself alternative indie. I love it. I will leave a link to his YouTube video down below. You can check it out. That's the song that is really stuck in my ear at the moment. Also because he looks gorgeous. Question number 7. What percentage of your self-control do you retain in a well-stocked bookshop? Excuse me. I already said that in a previous question that at the moment there are not many bookshops for me to go to, but that has nothing to do with self-control, but it has something to do with the place I live and coronavirus. But if I go to Amsterdam, where you have well-stocked English language bookstores, and quite a lot of them, used and new, I would say my self-control is 100%, because I never enter a bookstore with the idea I'm not going to buy anything. Sometimes I end up not buying anything. Then I just go and browse and feel happy about the books that I see, but I'm not inclined on buying something. Sometimes I go to a bookstore because I have 2 or 3 books on a list that I want to buy, and then I see a couple of other books and I buy those. But I never understood people who would enter a bookstore, if they are bookish people, and think that they can leave without buying anything, unless it happens, by chance, because you don't find anything or something. But so I never have the feeling that I lost my self-control when I'm in a bookstore, because I know if I find something, I will buy it. So yeah, I do have a monthly budget, kind of, sort of, for books. And if I am already approaching the limit, I tend not to go to a bookstore, because I know that if I go, I will buy. So, number 8, do you ever feel the need to take a break from books? If so, what form does it take? I would say I do sometimes need a break from writing. Certainly when I've just finished a book, I just need a break. But I don't think that is what the question means. It's probably more meant from books and reading in general. No. I mean, I have times when I don't read as much compared to other times. So there are days when I read 4 or 5 hours, and then there are days when I'm very busy and tired, that I might read only for an hour, and then maybe listen to an audiobook when I'm, before I go to sleep. But that is not taking a break from books. It's just that I don't have the mental energy to read for 5 hours. But even on days, the occasional day that I don't read at all, and I would say not at all means probably, for 10 minutes or half an hour, not longer than that, I will still think about books, and I will go through my bookcase and then take the time to organize the books that I want to read or something. So it's not taking a break. Sometimes I don't read as much in a particular day, but I'm never taking a break from books in that sense. No. Number 9, when you meet a new person, how long does it take you to bring up books? It depends on the context. If it's a private meeting, so to speak, with people I meet privately, I mean, not privately in the sense of, somewhere in secret, but in my personal life, then it probably doesn't take that long. But I don't meet that many new people, other than we already meet through books. So then there is no question that we are both readers. I don't bring up books when I meet people professionally. That doesn't make sense, obviously. Like I told you before, I have to work in order to pay my bills, and I don't work for those 2 jobs are in the law, because I've been a lawyer for a long time, and that is what I'm trained to be in order to earn money. And the people there know that I read a lot in my jobs, and they know that I write, but I hardly ever talk to them about books, because they are not that's not my bookish social environment, if that makes sense. And 10, have you given any thought, made provisions for your personal library after you croak? No, actually I haven't, and I really think I need to, because I do not have any children. I do not have that many relatives younger than I am that I would want to. So it was a good question, because I never thought about it, but obviously it would make sense to just make a provision to donate the books to some goodwill or something. So I will certainly have a think about that. And 11, are you known among your friends and loved ones for your weird and probably unhealthy relationship with books? No, they don't think I have a weird or unhealthy relationship with books at all. They just know that I read a lot and that that is my thing. And they give me vouchers to buy books for my birthday because that's what I love. And they hardly ever buy me books because either I have the book already, or they don't know what I want, or they buy me something that I don't want, which is not good for either me or the people giving me. So my friends and family, I mean, I don't have an extended family. My mother is the closest family. She's a reader as well, so she knows that I read a lot. And my friends know that too, but I don't think that it's weird or unhealthy. It's just the way I am. And they know that. And they love me for it, I guess. Anyway, I should tag people, but this tag has been making the rounds for quite some time, and a lot of people have been tagged, but I really mean it, what I wrote under the questions. If you are a booktuber and you watch this video, I tag you because I think it's a fabulous tag to get to know people. And you should definitely consider yourself tagged if you watch this and haven't been tagged by anybody else, and then make a video about it. Anyway, this was my take on the books and life tag. Thank you, Steve, for making the tag, and thank you, Sean, for tagging me. Thank you for watching it. I hope you've enjoyed it. As always, I'm looking forward to your comments, and I'll see you all soon in the next one.